Hello, and welcome to the 11th episode of XCOM Enemy Unknown. In our last episode, we promised to bring you up to date on the things that had happened in the weeks that we had been knocked off the air by the aliens, and we will finish doing that tonight. We left the base for this mission on May 18th, and if last episode's battle was a hard-fought defeat, I'm afraid this one was a massacre almost from the very beginning. This team had 1 lieutenant, 1 squaddie, and 3 rookies. Almost no sooner had they found 4 thin men than this happened. Romero answered back moments later. But the thin men, in turn, poisoned one of the rookies.
No! I want to go home! Weapons free.
And then she panics. But if that's not bad enough, 2 mutons get added to the 3 surviving thin men. And that's when the 1 remaining rookie panics. And as bad as the situation looks at that point, it only gets worse. There was a brief glimmer of hope when Romero and Snyder teamed up to take down a thin man. But at the end of the day, there were too many aliens doing too much damage. Jacobs actually panicked so badly he just shot at Romero. Thank God he missed. And then Jacobs himself was next to fall. And in the end, for the 2nd mission in a row, they were forced to abort the mission with Romero the only surviving soldier. And yet, even that did not go according to plan. Thanks to a glitch with the Sky Ranger, Romero was stuck out there for some time before she was finally evacuated. A cursed mission from beginning to end. There are any number of things that Romero might have felt on the long flight home. Anger, guilt, sadness, maybe just a firm resolve that such a thing would never happen again. But whatever she felt and whatever she thought, we can only imagine, because she is yet to speak one word about what happened that night, and I, for one, cannot hold my breath waiting for that to change. Normally, at this point, we'd show you what happened after they returned to base. Unfortunately, that is not possible in this case. An alien attack on our network headquarters destroyed all of the video that we had captured, both of the missions that were run over the last couple of weeks, as well as the decisions that were made here at the base. So the most we'll be able to do is walk you through step by step where things stand today, and then we'll carry forward from this point on. We'll start in the barracks, where a combination of field promotions and mission rewards of experienced soldiers have helped replenish the ranks somewhat, but we're still in pretty desperate need of an assault class. The Situation Room looks admittedly grim, but the commander does have 4 satellites to launch this month, which should help reduce panic levels. The lack of engineers had been keeping the commander from getting much done on building new satellite uplinks, but he finally got what he needed and has one well underway, and he now starts work on a power generator. While he's at it, he also begins construction on building an access lift to the next level down. The Phoenix cannons, meanwhile, are relatively cheap and should help make sure that the interceptors can bring down any craft they're likely to face. Carapace armor research hadn't even started when we lost contact, but getting it complete now should make a big difference in the survivability of the soldiers. And with the men's weapon and armor researched about as far as they can go right now, the commander puts his research into the alien navigational computers. And when that research finishes, he moves on to the UFO power source. Several days later, all of the work the commander had assigned on the facility is complete. And when a request for arc throwers comes in from the Mexican government, it helps the commander pick up a few extra credits. Of course, while it's great to accomplish so much at the base, it was only a matter of time before the alarm would sound again. And so it does. The commander puts together the best squad available, which happens to be 2 snipers, 2 heavies, and 2 support. The only familiar face to viewers at home will be Romero. We'll do our best to introduce the others as we go along throughout the mission. This group does not have a lot of experience working together, but they actually have been quite effective these past few missions. The only casualties they've suffered have been rookies, and those only due to alien grenades. The faces may be different, but the basic tactics are not. The commander continues to use the approach that you slowly move forward, stay on overwatch before contact is made. And so this group is going to work their way forward through the woods until they do make contact.
Eyes peeled, Commander. Eyes peeled, Commander. On Overwatch. Scanning.
We hear what sounds like floaters not too far away. We'll have to see how long it takes for them to put in an appearance.
Overwatch. Aye, aye. Eyes peeled, Commander. Got it covered. Quiet. Did you hear something? Shot wide.
And the floaters did not keep us waiting long, but we didn't necessarily expect them to bring the cyber disk along for company.
I'll get them next time.
X-ray down.
And Romero racks up the sole kill from reaction fire. With this many aliens lined up, the soldiers are going to want to start thinning these numbers ASAP. So Vorobyov lines up the shot
Got him.
and makes them scream.
No way!
Knight moves forward to try and get a better shot at the floater. But with disastrous results, not only does she get into the cyber disk's line of sight, but she also awakens the outsider pilot of the craft. And so now the soldiers have 2 more aliens to deal with, and powerful ones at that. With that in mind, Romero lines up a shot on a floater,
He's down.
and that helps even the odds a bit. Unfortunately, in the big picture, one floater more or less is not going to make it safe for Knight to be up there in front, so she pulls back behind full cover. The cyber disk is easily the most dangerous enemy remaining on the battlefield, but hopefully some suppressing fire will keep him under control until the rest of them can bring him down. For the disc to go on Overwatch here is pretty much the best case scenario the XCOMers could have hoped for.
Weapons empty.
No
Can't
way.
engage.
I'm sure Romero would have liked for that shot to do more damage, but it's a solid start. Despite Kuznetsova not having any cover, the Cyberdisc manages to miss her completely. Vorobyov has moved forward and has a more than solid chance to hit here. And unfortunately, he misses, so the soldiers are still in fairly dire need of some actual damage done to this Cyberdisc. Since it's pretty obvious that the disc is going to get a chance to return fire, Knight decides that rather than try to do a little bit of damage, she's going to lay down suppressing fire in the hopes of keeping everyone alive. Shimizu does not have a great shot here, so instead she opts to use a rocket, which will both wound the Cyberdisc and kill the outsider, taking a dangerous opponent off of the battlefield. Now, this grenade is not entirely unexpected given the suppressing fire, but Knight's panic was somewhat of a surprise, and perhaps more so is Shimizu following suit even though she was not hurt. On the plus side, the panic fire did further wound the Cyberdisc so that he's mostly dead. Although it's not quite time yet to look through his pockets for loose change. And Karam finishes the job.
I'm about to start keeping score. Reloaded. Good to go.
We're green to go.
You could just about predict that as soon as one wave of aliens is put down, another one comes along.
X-ray on the move.
But perhaps we should be thankful that the first wave was put down before these came. For the second time in just a couple of minutes, Vorobyov manages to miss a shot that looked practically unmissable. And Karam follows suit.
Good.
Fortunately, there is a young woman named Romero on the squad,
He's down.
and she puts him down. And maybe hitting can be almost as contagious as missing, because Kuznetsova steps up and kills the second floater. It's fortunate that the two snipers have already eliminated most of the floaters, because both Karam and Knight can do nothing more than reload for the moment.
Roger that. Scanning. I'm all right.
We've seen some strange sights in this war so far, but I'm not sure any of them can compare to seeing a trained soldier panic over what amounts to a severe bee sting from a drone. Fortunately, Vorobyov had his head squarely on his shoulder still, and he knocks the drone out of the sky. Rather than run forward after him, the majority of the crew is simply going to go on Overwatch and see if the one remaining floater will come to them.
Damn it, missed the target.
Despite a plethora of Overwatch shots, they do not manage to do quite enough damage to kill him, and he comes forward enough to tag Romero with a nearly lethal shot. Needless to say, after that, it's unanimous among the XCOMers that Romero get first crack at him. And say it with me, she puts him down.
It's killing
With
time.
all of the known major threats dealt with, it's time to go on Overwatch or reload for those who need
We're green
it.
to go. Overwatch, aye aye.
Kuznetsova takes a reaction shot against the drone, but isn't quite able to make it happen.
Adjusting sights.
The drone, perhaps trying to induce panic in Shimizu again, takes a shot but doesn't do any damage. Shimizu, meanwhile, attempts to regain some shreds of her dignity, and while she does hurt him, she's not quite able to finish the job. Fortunately, night is around to provide a admittedly anticlimactic finish to what has been a hard-fought mission.
The operation was a success.
The squad has to be pleased overall. Yes, there were some bumps in the road, but this is the first mission without a fatality since the terror mission some weeks ago. This has to be a bit of a disappointment. Despite killing 10 aliens in total, no one soldier's performance was strong enough to merit promotion. It's also worth noting that Romero will be in the hospital for more than 2 weeks. But as it turns out, just 1 day later, the squad is going to be asked to go on their second terror mission. It's safe to say you would not choose to send 2 rookies on an operation like this, but the commander can only use the troops available. So everybody loads aboard the Sky Ranger, and it's off to Hong Kong. Thank you for watching, and please join us next time when this somewhat ragtag crew will be fighting for their lives in Hong Kong, China.